Hi guys, it's Shishkababa1 coming right back at you with another Boom Beach video. Today's video, guys, we're doing the Warships Season 1 wrap-up. That's right, we finished it. And we finished in Legendary X, or Legendary 10 ranking. Right now I'm just going to have some replays going in the background. These were the last few hits. That was my battle log right before I reached Legendary X, and this is just going to go through a few of the hits that I did. It was all with the, basically all with the CHG combo that I unleashed, which became a meta, if you guys didn't notice. Yes, this was my combination. Yes, I did invent it. The actual CHG part we worked out in swap, but the whole concept of sending some kind of grenadier attack to gather GBE and then sending Brick with the cluster grenade, yours truly, bringing a new meta to Warships, guys. But it was fun. I really enjoyed doing these styles of attacks. Some people call them cheesy. They probably are a bit, but they were pretty technical too at the same time. Getting some of those flares were really tricky, and getting some of those artilleries were really tricky, and it brought a whole new dynamic to the gameplay that I thought was fresh and invigorating after 4 years of kind of playing the same junk all the time. So I enjoyed that. And we used that technique to go all the way to Legendary 10, guys. I think you will see one replay in here where it was Warriors. It was funny because people started trying to counter this technique, and they actually brought their microwavers outside of the sky shields. Well, as soon as they do that, you're open to warrior attack. So I think that's why I ran Warriors on a particular individual. Anyway, yeah, the Warship season was fun. It was, well, only really fun at the top, I'll be honest with you. It wasn't fun till we had a fair game, and in order to achieve fairness, we had to cheat, which really messed up. I mean, hopefully you guys have been keeping track with all my other videos so you know what I'm talking about, but in the second wave of exploitation, you had to get on board because there were so many people on it this time, and if you ever wanted to have a chance to get to the top, you had to do it. But once you were there, you met people that were all at even tech, and at that point, matchmaking was fair, guys. It was actually fair, because for the entirety of the Warships experience, for one reason or another, I know we can all say matchmaking wasn't as fair as it could be. But when everybody's got maxed out Warships, guess what, guys? It's fair. So that part of the game, the final part for me, was actually a lot of fun. And it helped, develop new strategies and new metas and stuff like that, and was able to pull it out. It was quite a grind. Just because you actually took advantage of the chest exploit does not mean that you'll get Legendary X. There were only 100 people on the global leaderboard that managed to do that. Only 2 in Canada, me and Triple JYYZ. So, it was still a challenge even after that point. Big shout out to my homeboy Op Destroy, because he managed to get there too. And Ryan PSC Life as well, because we were all using the CHG strategy, at least for the most part, to get there because it was so effective. Which leads me into a point. Like in this video, I just want to cover a few issues, I guess, that I've learned in the first season of Warships, and would like to just get it out there to see that maybe Supercell might address some of this going forward. A lot of people aren't too happy with the CHG style of attack. They feel it's a bit too cheesy. It's not as skill-based as some of the other attacks. And I mean, to an extent, I agree with that. I mean, honestly, this Warrior Rush right here, I would also say it's not that skill-based. I mean, you just flare them to a point, drop some smokes down, they can run over everything, and you spam taunt and shock a couple things. That doesn't take much skill either, to be fair. So, I don't know. I mean, how much skill, what's the level of skill that we want, what's considered skillful and not, I don't know. But if the developers see that that's an issue, then I would suggest, not nerfing Cluster Grenade. I think one of the real problems here, one of the real issues might be the fact that engine rooms need more health. I say that for 2 reasons. One, to help mitigate the prevalence of these hero-only sniper-style attacks, if you will, because you can do the same thing with Bullet and E-Drink. However, this style of attack does help players without instant training because they like that because there's no troop losses. So I don't want to rain on your parade too, guys. But I just don't want to see a nerf to these abilities, right? I don't want to see a nerf to Energy Drink. I certainly don't want to see a nerf to Cluster Grenade. I actually upgraded on my main base. It took a lot of tokens to do that, right? But that's not the reason. It's just I don't think it's necessary. I think the real issue here is that engine rooms might need a bit more health. What else do we know? We also know that the increase of stars from star inflation is no good. It's part of the reason the game became a grind at the end, and the star inflation occurs from the win streaks by getting +1 star for every win streak, and of course the first win of the day bonus, also awarding 1 star. It does everything I said it would at the beginning of the season, which is just that it creates a grind. You don't find who the best Warships player is in a system like this, because once you reach Legendary 10, you're done. That's it. you're not playing anymore. So the first people that reach it never really play the last people. So even though we're all kind of tied by rank on the leaderboard, and then you can even sort by win percentage, it doesn't mean anything because those people they didn't necessarily play together. You're never supposed to reach Legendary 10. You should never even get close, to be honest. And that way, there's always a healthy competitive spirit going all the way into the last minute of the last day of the season. That way, whoever's on top is the best. But we're not there yet. We don't have that, and the only way to do that is to turn down the stars. The artificial tech had nothing to do with it. It doesn't matter how much tech was available. It's all about how many stars are available, and the availability of stars is in direct relation to the amount of stars generated on a daily basis, and that is primarily influenced by win streaks and by the first win of the day. Now, you could also argue that at the bottom of the tech tree, you've got a lot of stars coming up from there, or at the bottom of the rank tree, there's a lot of stars coming up from there, but that's the only place those stars should be coming from. They shouldn't be generated at the higher ranks just randomly. They should only be brought from the bottom up to the top. That's the healthy model. We didn't have it here. We're not going to have it for Season 2. I hope they get it for Season 3 because, like I said before, people are going to hit Legendary 10 right away. I think I predicted within the first 3 days. So we'll see. We'll see if that holds true, but I believe it will. What else can we talk about here? Gosh, I can't even read my screen. Right, point system. We need a point system for chests. We've seen them change how these time chests work. They first used to unlock by stars, which come from wins or from other things like we talked about. Well, they all came from wins, essentially. But then they went off that. They went with engine rooms. So we've seen there's a huge problem with some players at some levels of warships that they're not getting engine rooms down. So they're just stuck. It's like a never-ending grind. That's horrible. You don't want that. And so, they need to do something better with that. Now, I've already seen some notes going into Season 2. They've mentioned they want to make it a more offensive season. That might address some of these issues because if it's more offensive-based, then you'll have a better chance at getting engine rooms down. But I still propose a better system. I think it's better, which would be like a point-based system. And I've mentioned this before, but I'll mention it again. And it would be a combination of, it would consider wins. It would also consider engine rooms destroyed. It might also even consider damage. Basically, you look at the win conditions, okay? Obviously, the first thing you want to do is win. So that should be awarded with the most points. But if you don't win, then you should look at things like engine rooms destroyed. Maybe you should get some partial credit for that if you didn't win. If you didn't get any engine rooms and you didn't win, maybe you should still get some credit for buildings destroyed. And they can work out how the different points are distributed, but as soon as you acquire a certain amount of points, then you can unlock a chest. Heck, the first one of the day could even be worth double points. Who knows? But there's all sorts of things you can do with that. And I would hope that they look into changing that system. Oops, lost my screen. Just trying to see another point that I wanted to discuss here, guys. And we talked about the stars. We talked about the different chests. Oh, here we go. The final point I want to make in this, I've got this from a lot of you viewers and from two different angles and kind of merged it into one idea. Basically, this one's a little bit out there. Like, I don't see them doing this, but I think it's a good idea. But there's probably a lot of technological reasons they can't or they wouldn't want to right away. But I think that there should be different leaderboards, one for each of the amount of engine rooms that you have unlocked. So, for instance, you'll have a leaderboard for people that have 2 engine rooms unlocked, people that have 3 engine rooms unlocked, all the way up to 7 engine rooms unlocked. Each one of those groups should play on an independent leaderboard. And furthermore, they should also have their own independent queue. Now, this sounds a little bit weird, but let me explain. The reason primarily has a lot to do with lower level players, people that are not HQ 22, because they're stuck as to how far they can progress through warships. And we want everybody to have a fun time, right? Well, they're not having a fun time, guys, not at all. I've heard them loud and clear. Because what happens is they might be doing really good for the amount of engine rooms they have, and they've pushed their rank basically as far as they can go. Within the current state of matchmaking, this is one of the problems with matchmaking, is that they're being matched with overpowered opponents. But the way the matchmaking system is set up, it can't help it at a certain point because these people's rank is so high, the only people that they can be matched with at the time that they queue are people that just happen to have more engine rooms, because there's nobody else that has the same amount of engine rooms as them that's hitting queue at the same time within that same little time window. So they're getting matched with overranked people, and they're losing, and they never had a chance to win, and it's not fun. I get it. So how do you fix that? Well, you got to fix matchmaking somehow. Well, that gets even trickier to fix the matchmaking algorithm. Maybe the algorithm's not at fault. It's just the selection of players that are at fault that are being put into the algorithm in the first place. And that's sort of what I'm getting at here. I think that it would be better if everyone was on independent queues. Everybody that has 2 engine rooms unlocked, they're in one pool of people. That's it. Nobody else, they can fight nobody else. So what this means is, as they're moving up in rank, as they get higher and higher to the highest rank on the 2 engine room leaderboard, you're going to find that the matches take a long time, just to actually get in the queue. Just like the matches took a long time when I was pushing for Legendary 10, the same thing would happen at the tops of each one of these queues. But you know what? That's fine, because the players have 2 choices at this point. If that's like their last, if that's the only engine, if that's the limit to how many engine rooms they can unlock, they're stuck with that. But you know what they get in return for long queue times? Fair matches. And for those people that can unlock more, this might also then become the incentive to unlock more and move into the next leaderboard with the next amount of engine rooms unlocked. If the numbers are there to support it and the technology is there, I think they should do it, because it'll really make low levels have a much better time, and it'll make for a lot more competitiveness and a lot more different strategies. Heck, maybe all you want to do is compete on the 4 engine room leaderboard for one season. Who knows? That could be fun, right? That could open up a whole bunch of new stuff, but I think the most important thing that it does is it really helps lower level players feel like they're competing and doing something of value in Warships, other than just beating their head against a wall. That's basically what they do, and then they just stop playing, and we don't want them to do that. We want everyone to play and have a good time, right? What else can we talk about? Well, I got a little chart that I can show you guys real quick. Well, I guess let's take a quick look at the Canadian leaderboard, because the chart's based on it anyway. So yeah, I've been tracking the data on the Canadian leaderboard for the last week or so, just kind of periodically. Here are the final results. You can see good friend Triple J YYZ came in first. I came in second, and then we got Warriors Attack in third, Astro Boy in fourth, Rider 18 in fifth, Suicidal, Big G, Nitro, Dan, Nasty, and Pirate 17 rounding out the top 10. You can see rank falls off pretty quickly, but let's take a closer look at this. Here we go, stars versus rank. So I redid the last chart that I showed you in the video that showed, I'll move my face over here again, that showed the different rank position on the leaderboard and how many stars it took to fill that rank. Now, the data wasn't precisely taken at even intervals, so I had to do some averaging, but what you can see is pretty much a steady growth. Like, the different colors, like the green colors refer to May 13th, the orange is May 15th, and then the green is May 19th. But kind of a caveat here, that May 19th was at the end of the season, and the season didn't go a full 24-hour cycle. It's more like 3/4 of a day. Anyway, I took all this into factor, because I took most of these samples, like I took the May 13th and May 15th right about midnight of those days, and then the May 19th one ended around 6 p.m. local time for me, so 3/4 of a day. Anyway, what I found, and what I need to tell you about all this, is that what surprised me is that the star growth rate, average per day, was about 4.07, and it didn't really matter how I measured it. If I measured it between May 13th and May 19th, May 13th and May 15th, May 15th and May 19th, whatever, it all kind of came out right around that same number, which was weird. I expected more. I expected that number to increase over time, and I still would expect it to increase over time. I guess that just means people didn't play as much as I thought they would. Maybe only some people decided to grind. I don't know. I don't know what it means, but obviously the more you play, the more win streaks you generate, and the more win streaks you generate, the more artificial stars you generate, and that would make that number go up. Having an average per day of, let's just call it 4, well, I mean, if everybody plays, especially everybody in the top 500 of the Canadian leaderboard, let's just assume they were playing every day and getting 1 win every day at a bare minimum. That means one of those stars every day was just given by the first win of the day star bonus, right? So boom, that one's already a freebie. Then you're still left with 3. I mean, I guess naturally there would still be some growth. I wouldn't even know what it was, but let's just say the natural growth rate is 1 star a day. I have no idea. So that still leaves just 2 stars left over for 2 stars that are generated from win streaks. So that just means people weren't playing enough to generate enough win streaks or something. But it's still there. I mean, if that's the case with these really basic numbers, that would still mean that win streaks account for, well, 2/3 of all the artificial growth, and that the daily star bonus is 1/3 of all the artificial growth. But it still needs to just go, because without that, people will not be able to reach Legendary 10, and we don't need to be getting there for all the reasons that I said. But there it is. There's the final data I did for that, and overall, the season was really fun. We had the most fun at the end of the season. You had to cheat to have fun, because only at that point did the game become fair. Because at that point, everyone was at even tech, and then it was just game on. Who had the best strategy, who was the best at playing the game, and that's what helped you climb the ranks so quickly. And I mean, like I said, it was not an easy task per se. It took a lot of time on my part and everyone else's, I'm sure, that got Legendary 10. Taking a quick look at that leaderboard. Whoops, we got out of our warships here. I mean, there were a lot of people that reached max tech level, but they weren't able to get Legendary 10. You still had to work for it. And then there were a lot of people that also pushed hard, they pushed through really far without ever having exploited, but then they ran into the wall of exploitation as well, so there were limits to that. It was just a junk season, and they're not going to reset it, so we're going into Season 2 with some of the reverberations of Season 1, so buckle your seatbelts, guys. But I'm just showing you, like, randomly, like, if we visit this guy's warship, or his profile, see, that tech, that's max tech, that's 4390. This guy over here, profile, max tech, 4395. Max tech is a weird number. It's around 4350, kind of variable. We won't get into why that is. It's a bug, but they fixed it apparently. Here you go, max tech, 4530. So I mean, the point is, all these people around here, guys, had max tech, or very close to it. Even a tech of 4235, you'll consider that max, because some people just didn't do the last stuff they didn't need, like Everspark upgrades and Scorcher upgrades and stuff. That's still a max tech. 4005, that might not be max, but again, like I said, there was some crossover. And again, guys, there were some people like that guy that maybe had 4000 tech. He might not have been exploiting directly, but indirectly, because it was very possible just to like benefit from all the bugs without even knowing that you were. So for this reason and so many others, the season was out the window, but it's also the reason why it was necessary just to take advantage of that and just max the tech out and go, because it was the only way to get the final vantage point of the game, and I'm quite glad that I did that, because I ended up creating a meta troop combination that everyone started using in the end. So that was pretty cool too. We got to showcase the cluster grenade in all of its glory once and for all. So that was great. Looking forward to Season 2. We know that it starts with the recording of this video, it starts in 1 day and 6 hours. It's kind of weird because it starts at a really weird time for people in North America. It's great if you're in Europe or in China, I suppose, but we'll be at a bit of a disadvantage because it's going to be late. Last point, I should say it's very important, in fact. If you want to do well in Season 2, you really need to play the moment it starts. This gets back to all my star inflation arguments before, but trust me on this stuff. Since it's there, we're gonna play with it. We know it's there. You need to get on top. It's that whole rubber band analogy that I did for you guys a few videos ago. As the inflation occurs, it'll be easier to stay on top if you start on the top. So get there ASAP. Then you can kind of coast along for most of the season, and then come in and do a final push for the last week. That's the general overview of strategy that I have going into Season 2. But you absolutely need to come out guns blazing the moment the season starts. I mean it, guys. I really mean it. It's very important. Just if you want to do well. But yeah, it's a weird time for all of us in North America. So anyway, we're going to wrap it up right there. I hope you guys had a great Warship season. Let me know in the comments below, what you thought about it, any changes that you might like to see going forward, and maybe we'll pass some of these things along to Supercell if they ever ask us or whatever. So hope you guys have a super fantastic, awesome rest of your day, and remember, like always, be kind to others, because if you're not, you're just being mean, and mean people suck.